videos, everybody, so your discussions do not interfere. Everybody, please mute your videos, the audios. First of all, I welcome you. Welcome everybody from the Arpa Institute. I'm Hagop Panosyan. And with me is Jora Manusharyan, who is controlling this Zoom technology. And we have also several other ARPA board members with us. For those of you who do not have a good idea of who ARPA is and what ARPA does, Arpa Institute has been working in Armenia since 1992, working towards advancing technology, science, education, health, various areas. And we work with the Ministry of Education and Science, Ministry of High Technology, several other ministries. And also we work with the universities and the Academy of Sciences, several institutes of the Academy of Sciences. We have several projects that we try to implement these days. Our latest project is to establish a nanotechnology research and development center in Armenia. As some of you may know, nanotechnology is one of the most advanced and cutting-edge technologies that will create very totally different and much better performing materials, and also in many other areas. And Armenia needs to establish itself in this high technology. There are already about 30 scientists who are working in nanotechnology in Armenia, and we are closely working with them and with the government so that they can start developing such a technology center in Armenia. And the World Bank is very interested to help us out. We also fund small businesses, actually we call them micro businesses, in the border regions of Armenia. For the local people to start a business, we guide them and organize the business and make sure that it's profitable, and help them establish themselves as a business, and also create jobs this way. One of them is so far has been very, very successful, a tailor shop in Berkapa region, which is very close to the area where there was the latest clashes. And there's already a lot of work going on, and several people are working for this lady. And then we also have our annual invention competition for young scientists of Armenia. And this year we have received 12 different inventions in various fields. What we do is send out these inventions to experts and ask for their evaluations. And each project should at least be evaluated by 3 scientists. And then we try to determine the best of the whole applied projects, and we award them. The first award is $2,000, the second is $1,000, third is $600, and the fourth is $400. This is to encourage them to continue and work in high technology areas. As far as the institutes are concerned, we work, for example, with the Physical Research Institute, and we provide them with instrumentation, and also the Chemical Physics Institute. We provide also with instrumentation and also work with them in the technical areas. Physical in the National Alikhanian Lab, we work with scientists over there and also the directorate, and especially we have a special project related to radio frequency photomultiplier tube, which is a very high technology area, and we're trying to make some product out of the research that is going on in there. And also we work with the universities like the Yerevan State University and the Polytechnic Institute, as well as our monthly presentations that we organize on various fields related to Armenia or Armenians in general. In the past, we have developed, for example, the first modern blood bank in Armenia, and we had also organized an educational program for 7th and 8th grade students on health education and lifestyle, where the various issues related to smoking, heavy drinking, and the importance of exercise and so on, things like that, have been taught, and eventually the government adopted the program, and now it is being taught in every school. And we also, of course, work with, as I said, several different universities and also several different ministries and even public organizations to help advance technology, health, education, and other areas, as I said. So we are very happy today to have with us Dr. Benjamin Bogosyan, who is going to speak to us today about Turkey and Azerbaijan strategic partnership, implications for Armenia. Dr. Bogosyan is the executive director of the Political Science Association of Armenia, and he's also the founder and chairman of the Center for Political and Economic Strategic Studies since 2017. He was the vice president for research and head of the Institute for National Strategic Studies at the National Defense Research University in Armenia from August 2016 to 2019. He joined the Institute for National Strategic Studies in March of 2009 as a research fellow, and then was appointed as the deputy director for research in 2010. And in his 10 years of experience at the only Armenian state think tank dealing with Armenian foreign policy and the regional and international security issues, Dr. Bogosyan has prepared over 100 policy papers. He has presented political and military to the political and military leadership of Armenia, including the president, the prime minister, and the minister of foreign affairs. And since 2009, he has participated and presented in more than 50 international conferences and workshops on regional and international security dynamics. Dr. Bogosyan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bogosyan, first of all, for this opportunity. And I really appreciate your job and Arpa job, what you have done and what you are doing for supporting our motherland, Republic of Armenia. And I would like to welcome all of the participants and appreciate their time, which they are sharing with us. So I will not speak about myself, as you very generally presented my short biography, and I will immediately start regarding our topic. So the discussion topic today is Azerbaijan-Turkey strategic relations and its implications for Armenia. I will briefly touch upon the history, starting from 1991, when Soviet Union collapsed, and then in more depth we will discuss these relations in recent years, especially since 2014, when Erdogan was elected as a president in 2014, and he was more and more inclined towards this neo-Ottoman politics, aiming to increase Turkey's role as an independent regional player in the Middle East, and also hoping for some regional hegemony in its rivalry with both neighboring Iran and also with other Sunni Muslim states like Gulf monarchies, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and others. So when in 1991 the Soviet Union collapsed, and at that time there was no Erdogan in Turkey. Turkey was a usual state, as we all know it, since the end of the World War II, mainly controlled by militaries.
Benjamin, excuse me if I interrupt, but your voice is getting noisy. If you can go back a little bit from your computer so you're not too close to the microphone.
Okay, I will try.
Okay.
Now it's okay?
Yeah, that's
Do you
better.
hear
Yes.
me now?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So when Soviet Union collapsed and
A little further, actually.
we have independent 15 states, among them also Turkish-speaking states, Azerbaijan, and also 4 Turkish-speaking states in Central Asia. Some in Turkey, and at that time the president was Turgut Özal. They hoped that this is a golden time for Turkey to strategically increase their involvement both in South Caucasus and also in Central Asia. And if you look at the statement for this newly independent leadership, especially in Central Asian republics, the younger Nursultan Nazarbayev, former president of Uzbekistan Islam Karimov, and also Kyrgyz president Askar Akayev, they all made several statements in 1992, 1993, speaking of Turkey as a new big brother for them, hoping that, okay, Turkish investments will come in Central Asia and Turkey will play a significant role in boosting these newly independent states. As regarding Azerbaijan, in 1992, Abulfaz Elchibey came to power in Azerbaijan in June 1992. Staunchly ally of close relations with Turkey, and even in his public speeches, sometimes Elchibey calling for unification of Turkey with Azerbaijan, telling that his ultimate goal is to transform Azerbaijan as a part of Turkey. However, in summer 1993, Elchibey was ousted due to the military coup. And this political and military mess in Azerbaijan also was very useful for Armenia and Karabakh, because if we look to our main military successes, besides the liberation of former Lachin and former Kelbajar, which took place first in May 1992, and Kelbajar was liberated in April 1993, our main military successes was during the time when a part of Azerbaijani troops left the front line, go to Baku, ousted Elchibey, then Heydar Aliyev came to power and somehow stabilized Azerbaijan. Then we have a period of Heydar Aliyev presidency in Azerbaijan from late 1993 till 2003. And starting from that point, Azerbaijan and Turkey started their relations of strategic partnership. Definitely, we all know the notion of one people, two states, elaborated by President Heydar Aliyev in late 1990s. Of course, it was not everything clear in Azerbaijan-Turkey relations at that time. Even in 1995, there was an attempt by some Turkish special forces to organize coup d'etat against Heydar Aliyev. But however, since late 1990s, there was a clear understanding that for Azerbaijan, Turkey is #1 strategic partner. And also starting from late 1990s, when also West and United States came to the South Caucasus, the key goal at that time for the United States was to support the newly independent states and not to allow them to come back into the Russian orbit. And in this logic, United States were also supportive for establishing several pipelines which will deliver Azerbaijani oil and gas from Azerbaijan to Turkey and then Europe, circumventing Russia. So since late 1990s, if we speak about Azerbaijan-Turkey relations, there was bilateral partnership, and also there was efforts by the West and mainly by the United States to boost and support these newly established or establishing energy corridors. So in mid-2000s, we have the launch of Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline in 2006. And in the same year, in 2006, there was a launch of Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum gas pipeline. And so these energy projects and economic cooperation also played a role in additionally boosting Azerbaijan-Turkey relations. From Turkish point of view, the South Caucasus was Turkey's neighborhood, and especially when AKP, this moderate Islamist party, came to power in late 2002 through parliamentary elections, and when Erdogan became Prime Minister of Turkey in 2003. In South Caucasus, Turkey's policy was to increase its influence in the involvement in the South Caucasus, having two pillars for reaching this goal. First was its partnership with Azerbaijan, and second was Turkey and Azerbaijan joint efforts to increase their economic influence in Georgia. So, since late 2000s, Georgia, Turkey, and Azerbaijan established these trilateral cooperation formats. And since then, we've seen every year meetings of the leaders of three states. Also, there are summits of ministers of foreign affairs, and also the summits of ministers of defense. From Turkish point of view, South Caucasus, Turkey should increase its involvement, and Turkey should do that through its cooperation with Azerbaijan, and also by increasing joint Azerbaijan-Turkey economic influence in Georgia, and seeking also to transform this economic influence into a political one.
Benjamin, again, there are complaints about not having too much noise in your voice, so if you could move a little further even. Yeah, I think that will be better.
Now it's better?
I think so.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So, yes, and this also coincided with the period when Saakashvili came to power in Georgia with his overt anti-Russian policy, and when the Russia-Georgia war took place in 2008. All this also played well in Azerbaijan and Turkey strategy, because Georgia perceived its partnership with Azerbaijan and Turkey as a possibility to leverage against Russian influence, and also because Saakashvili's main foreign policy goals were the Euro-Atlantic integration, membership into NATO, and membership into European Union. In mid-2000s, Georgia also perceives Turkey as a gate towards to deepen its relations with both NATO and the EU. Turkey is a NATO member country, and Turkey has a border with Georgia. So Georgians thought that, okay, Turkey is the only NATO member country which we have a land border. Those good or partner relations with Turkey also may help us to facilitate or foster our relations with NATO. And then we have 2008, when the Armenia-Turkey normalizations process, which also known as a soccer diplomacy or football diplomacy, started. So here there are two main versions, what happened in 2008 and why it happened. The main idea was that this was a Turkey and the US facilitated process to somehow normalize the relations between Armenia and Turkey. And then by normalizing relations between Armenia and Turkey, somehow starting to decrease Armenia's dependence over Russia. Because according to that logic, the key reason which keeps Armenia within Russian sphere of influence is not the Karabakh conflict itself or the war threats from Azerbaijan, because Armenia has sufficient power and resources to tackle with Azerbaijan issue. The key for Armenia to be within Russian zone of influence is danger that in case of resuming of military hostilities in Nagorno Karabakh, Turkey may intervene. So from this logic, if Armenia-Turkey relations will be normalized, Armenia will have less incentives to have a deeper military cooperation or relations with Russia, and maybe even the existence of a Russian military base in Armenia would lose its key meaning to protect Armenia from possible Turkish military intervention, or to protect Armenia in case if Turkey will join its military with Azerbaijan in possible new war over Nagorno Karabakh. And from another point of view, the Armenia-Turkey rapprochement was triggered by Russia, mainly due to geo-economic issues. because Russia wants to use Armenia as another way to increase its economic cooperations with Turkey, and especially use Armenian nuclear power plant or the new nuclear power plant, because if you remember in 2008, Armenian president, then President Sargsyan, made a statement that Armenia is very close to launch the construction of new nuclear power plant. So according to this logic, this nuclear power plant will be constructed by Russian support, by Russian money, and the key export country would be Turkey. That is why Russia also triggered this Armenia-Turkey normalization process, or soccer diplomacy, to have another avenue for having beneficial or mutually beneficial cooperation, economic cooperation with Turkey. However, in 2009, Armenia and Turkey signed protocols but never ratified. And here we have to again come back to Azerbaijan-Turkey relations, because definitely Azerbaijan stance was very negative regarding the possibility of Armenia-Turkey rapprochement or Armenia-Turkey normalization. And Azerbaijan and President Ilham Aliyev applied all its tools to prevent this from happening. He started to deepen its relations with Turkish opposition, especially this National Movement Party, starting to play with nationalistic circles in Turkey, seeking their help to prevent these protocols from ratification. And also, since 2000s or late 2000s, Azerbaijan also started to invest a lot of money into Turkey. We are speaking about billions of dollars or even tens of billions of dollars of Azerbaijani investments, mainly done through SOCAR, the state oil company of Azerbaijan. So Azerbaijan also used this investment as a leverage to prevent rapprochement between Armenia and Turkey. In 2010, Turkey made the decision to stop the ratification process, to freeze the ratification. My personal understanding is that the key reason why Erdogan did that was domestic political calculations, because in 2010, Erdogan also had a vision of transforming Turkey from fully presidential country, and he knew that he needs support of nationalistic circles in Turkey to transform Turkey from parliamentary to pure or strong presidential country. He knew that he needs to organize a referendum, and also he knew that he needs voices of nationalistic circles. So my understanding is that this Azerbaijan involvement with Turkish nationalistic politics inside Turkey played a key role in keeping Erdogan back from ratifying these Armenia-Turkey protocols. And then what happened in 2010? Two important milestones. First, when Armenia-Turkey protocols, they have been freezed, Russia offered Armenia to extend the deployment of Russian military base. The first agreement was signed in 1995 for 25 years. So if this agreement would place, this year in 2020, Russian military base should be taken out from Armenia. And in 2010, Russia offered Armenia to sign a new agreement and to extend the deployment of Russian military base till 2044. So for another 24 years. And this agreement was signed at the beginning of August in 2010, when Russian President Dmitry Medvedev came to Armenia. And interestingly, Armenian side said that, okay, if you want to extend the terms of deployment of Russian military base, we also want to change some terms of the possible use of this military base. Because according to the original agreement, which was signed in 1995, the key goal of Russian military base was to protect those borders of Republic of Armenia, which were part of the external borders of former Soviet Union, which means that this military base was responsible to protect Armenia's border with Turkey and Iran. But when in 2010 the new agreement was signed, some changes have been made, And starting from 2010, the Russian military base deployed in Armenia, it has to protect not only Armenia's border with Turkey and Iran, but also Armenia's border with Azerbaijan and Georgia. So in case of large-scale attack from Azerbaijan, we will not only have to get support from Russia because we have a bilateral treaty of mutual defense and friendship signed in 1997, and not only because we are a member of Collective Security Treaty Organization, but also because the Russian military base has such an obligation. And immediately after this deal signed in Yerevan, Azerbaijan and Turkey signed in August 16, 2010, they signed the strategic partnership agreement. So they institutionalized their partnership. According to several sources, there is an open version of this document, and also there are some classified part of the document. But even in the open version of documents, there is a clear mentioning that in case if any of the countries, in case of Azerbaijan or Turkey, will be attacked, the other country will support the next one with all possible means. There is no legally binding requirement that there should be military agreement, like we have, for example, Article 5 in NATO agreement, for example. But in any case, this August 2010 agreement on strategic partnership between Turkey and Azerbaijan was a milestone in their relations, and it institutionalized their partnership. Now, let's see what we have during last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, in Azerbaijan-Turkey relations, and then we will discuss the implications for Armenia. But first of all, we have growing economic cooperation between two countries. As I mentioned, even in late 2000, Azerbaijan started its investment in Turkey, and this process has been accelerated after 2010. SOCAR and also other Azerbaijani companies, they invested, according to several data, even up to 20 billion US dollars investment in Turkey, which is really big money even for a huge Turkish economy. So from one point of view, we see the growing economic cooperation. Then both before 2010, but especially after 2010, there was a growing military cooperation. Many Azerbaijani officers, they are going to Turkish military universities to be trained there. And also not only officers, but also the soldiers of special forces. They also went to Turkey, they are trained there, and according to several information, they even, some of them have been involved in real combat operation against PKK inside Turkey. So they also get some real combat experience before returning to Azerbaijan. Another important factor, especially after 2010, is growing military presentation or military involvement of Turkey in Nakhichevan. According to public sources, there are several hundred Turkish instructors in Nakhichevan, and also there are several types of weaponry deployed in Nakhichevan, including the rocket systems, the multiple launch rocket systems, something like equivalent of Russian Grad or Russian Samar systems, which theoretically they are able to target Yerevan because their range is approximately 90-100 kilometers. But if we take the border between Nakhichevan and Yerevan, from the border it's only 50 or 55 kilometers. So starting from 2010, we see also growing military involvement of Turkey in Nakhichevan. And according to not public sources, and also according to Iranian not public sources, now Turkey have up to 5,000 soldiers deployed in Nakhichevan, but they wear Azerbaijani uniform, and so officially it's not accepted as a fact. Officially, Turkey and Azerbaijan only accept the existence of several hundred instructors, but according to several not public sources, Iranian and also Russian, there are up to 5,000 Turkish troops deployed in Nakhichevan. Another important cooperation was the launch of Southern Gas Corridor. The idea of Southern Gas Corridor is to bring Azerbaijani gas to Europe, circumventing Russia through three main pipelines. The first is Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum pipeline, which was built in 2006. And since 2006, Azerbaijan provides natural gas to Turkey. Then, starting from 2014, the construction of second pipeline was started, Trans-Anatolian pipeline. It starts from Turkish city Erzurum and reaches Turkey-Greece border. This pipeline was opened, and there was a big grand opening ceremony in late November 2019. And the third pipeline of this Southern Gas Corridor is Trans-Adriatic pipeline. It starts from Turkish-Greece border, runs through Greece, Albania, then under the Adriatic Sea reaches Italy. And it should be commissioned in autumn 2020 within several months. And in late 2020, the first Azerbaijani gas will reach Europe through this Southern Gas Corridor. Annually, Azerbaijan will provide 10 billion cubic meters of gas to European markets, to Greece, to Albania, to Italy, and also to Bulgaria. But if there will be additional investments, this volume can be almost double, and it may reach to 31 billion cubic meters. So one of the key economic cornerstones of Turkey-Azerbaijan partnership is Southern Gas Corridor, which is fully supported by European Union and also by the United States. Another economic cooperation between Azerbaijan and Turkey is the joint efforts to be included into the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. China launched this initiative in 2013. And idea is to establish new trade routes which will connect China and the EU. In the Belt and Road Initiative, there are 6 land corridors, and none of these land corridors passes through South Caucasus. But in recent years, Azerbaijan and Turkey suggested the new transport corridor, so-called Middle Corridor or Trans-Caspian International Transport Route. And the idea is to bring Chinese goods via Kazakhstan to Caspian Sea, then by Caspian Sea to Azerbaijan, and then either via Azerbaijan, Georgia, Black Sea to Europe, or via Azerbaijan, Turkey, Mediterranean Sea, Europe, or Azerbaijan, Turkey, and by land through Greece and Bulgaria to Europe. So this is another very important cornerstone of Azerbaijan-Turkey strategic cooperation. And they are actively advertising this middle corridor with China, seeking to include this route into the Chinese Belt and Road, and thus to receive the possibility to get some funds from this huge fund pool of Belt and Road Initiative. And in 2019, the first experimental freight train left China and come to Kazakhstan, and then via Azerbaijan and Turkey, it reached Europe. As for now, it's very difficult to say will be this route commercially viable, and will China agree to include this officially in the Belt and Road Initiative. But in any case, this is another important cornerstone of Turkey-Azerbaijan cooperation. So we have a strong economic cooperation. It's energy cooperation, Southern Gas Corridor. It's Turkish-Azerbaijan joint efforts to be included into Belt and Road Initiative. And we have growing military cooperation through military education and also through deployment of military instructors. And even according to some non-public information sources of deployment up to 5,000 military personnel in Nakhchivan. So from Turkish point of view, all the strategic goal of Turkey is to increase its influence in the South Caucasus, and it's all within the Erdogan's this policy of making Turkey a more independent regional player and transform Turkey from being only the channel for the conduit of US foreign policy in the Middle East to the independent actor when Turkey itself will decide. In some cases, he may align itself with United States. In some cases, he may act against United States interests. In some cases, he may have cooperation with Russia. In some cases, he may have conflict with Russia, like we have seen now in Libya. So, in this general strategic goal of Turkey, of Erdogan, of transforming Turkey into a more independent regional player, if not a regional hegemon in the Middle East, the increase of Turkish influence in the South Caucasus plays an important key role here. Now, if you look from Azerbaijani point of view, if we look through Azerbaijani official statements, President Aliyev, foreign minister, both former foreign minister, and I'm sure that new foreign minister also will have the same attitude. Azerbaijan clearly articulates that he not only wants to take back the whole Nagorno Karabakh, this 11,500 square kilometers. I mean, both the Nagorno Karabakh autonomous region within its 1988 borders and the liberated areas. But also, Azerbaijan is clear in his intentions that he does not recognize the Republic of Armenia. Because if you look through President Aliyev's statements, the Republic of Armenia was established in historical Azerbaijani lands, and that Azerbaijanis should have the right to return to their historic lands. Of course, some in Armenia say that, oh, Mr. Aliyev is crazy and we should not take his statements seriously, but I don't agree with such a point of view. My understanding is that really Azerbaijan has a strategy, and its strategy is not only to take back the Karabakh, and their main strategic goal even is not to take back Karabakh or some territories, but their strategic goal is to take back Karabakh and also at least some parts of Armenia, and to establish the direct land corridor with Nakhchivan and with Turkey. And if we going back in 2011 June, the Kazan summit between Russian, Armenian, and Azerbaijani presidents, when the Kazan document should be signed based on phased approach solution, and it envisaged during the first phase the return of 5 territories, approximately 6,000 square kilometers to Azerbaijan, only for some promise from Azerbaijani side that somewhere in the indefinite future there will be a referendum to fix the final legal status of Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan declined this offer, rejected this offer, because from his point of view, the several regions around the Nagorno-Karabakh, like Fizuli, Zangelan, Jebrail, Kubatli, it's not a key price for Azerbaijan. So if by receiving these lands, he will complicate its overarching strategy to take all Karabakh and also parts of Armenia, Azerbaijan does not need this. And another proof is that at least till end of 2019, Azerbaijan vehemently was against to so-called Lavrov plan, the modified version of Kazan document proposed by Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov in 2014. And for making Azerbaijan more happy, Russians even kick out the notion of referendum to finalize the legal status of Karabakh, asking that, okay, Armenia will give back these 5 territories to Azerbaijan, and then negotiation will continue, open-end negotiation without any fixed term, to define the final legal status of Karabakh. So logically, this is an excellent solution for Azerbaijan. He may take some 6,000 square kilometers without even shooting one bullet, and even there is no mention of future referendum. But this offer was also kind with another offer that after Armenian forces will be withdrawn from these territories, only Russian peacekeepers should be deployed in this along the new line of contact. And Azerbaijan also rejected this, because Azerbaijan knows very well that the Russian peacekeepers means de facto Russian military base in Azerbaijan. And Russian military base in Azerbaijan means that Russia will have much more significant influence over Azerbaijan. And if Russian military base under the umbrella of peacekeeping forces will be deployed in these territories, it will complicate Azerbaijan's overall or the grand strategy of taking back whole Karabakh and also parts of Armenia. And in this strategy, definitely Turkey is fully supportive of Azerbaijan, because also this is a line of Turkish policy to increase its influence in the South Caucasus. And overall, it bode well with General Erdogan's ambitions to transform Turkey into more independent player in the region. So if now we will go back or come back or to return to the second or mainly for us the most important part of the topic, the implications for Armenia. Unfortunately, I don't see any possibilities when Armenia can somehow come into terms with Turkey and Azerbaijan on acceptable terms for Armenia. Because as far as I understand, Turkish strategic goals and Azerbaijan's strategic goals, their minimum goal is the annihilation of Republic of Nagorno Karabakh, the full annihilation of Republic of Nagorno Karabakh, and also to establish control over the southern part of Republic of Armenia, and to have this direct land corridor with Turkey. This is a minimum goal, and the maximum goal, my understanding is that they will be happy even to annihilate and to destroy the Republic of Armenia, and not to have the Republic of Armenia as a member of international community. So this is a Turkish and Azerbaijan strategy, at least in South Caucasus, overtly anti-Armenian, and frankly speaking, even in the foreseeable future, I don't see any possibilities that this may be changed. Of course, we may think that during the presidential election of 2023, Erdogan will be defeated, and maybe the former Kemalists, CHPs, will come to power. There are a lot of discussions now that this new young mayor of Istanbul, maybe he could defeat Erdogan in upcoming presidential elections. And it's very difficult now to assess if this may happen. What will be the CHP president or CHP Turkey policy towards Armenia and Azerbaijan? But in any case, in general, I don't think that even if Erdogan will be defeated during these upcoming presidential elections, and someone from CHP, from this Kemalist party, will be elected as a Turkish president, I don't see that Turkey will change its strategic goal toward Armenia. Regarding the situation in Azerbaijan, also there are several options. Some experts argue that Aliyev at least seeks to keep a balance between Russia and Turkey. Turkey and also for Turkish forces in Azerbaijan are not happy with this, and they are now trying to somehow decrease the influence of President Aliyev, and even some Russian experts are speaking about possibilities to organize a coup d'etat in Azerbaijan, kick out Mr. Aliyev, and bring more pro-Turkish president into Azerbaijan. I myself don't think that it's possible, at least in short-term perspective, up to 1 to 3 years, to have Mr. Aliyev forcing out from his position as the president of Azerbaijan. My understanding is that if nothing extraordinary happens, President Aliyev will keep his position at least till 2025. So in upcoming 5 years, we also will not witness the significant changes of Azerbaijan policy towards Armenia. So the Turkey-Azerbaijan joint strategy against Armenia is a very hostile one, and I don't see any chances or opportunities that this may be changed. So what Armenia can do here, as there are no opportunities, as for now, I believe for another 3 or 5 years, there will be no opportunities to come to terms with Turkey and Azerbaijan in acceptable terms for Armenia and for Karabakh. So the only acceptable term for Turkey and Azerbaijan is a full capitulation of Armenia and Karabakh, and the acceptance of the formula, which I dubbed in my recent paper as a land for promise formula. Like, okay, you should give us some lands and we will promise that we will not take more land from you. So what can Armenia do? Definitely first to strengthen itself, I mean to strengthen the state. And second, because obviously in any case, Armenia will not be able to counter joint Turkey-Azerbaijan pressure, because if we take into account the power balance between joint Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Armenia, its power balance is definitely not for us. jointly Azerbaijan-Turkey GDP is approximately $900 billion. We have only GDP of $13 billion, and I'm not speaking about Turkish military, which is the second largest spending in NATO if we are not considering the nuclear weapons. So yes, so we have to do everything to strengthen state within, but also we have to keep the strategic partnership and strategic alliance with Russia, as only Russia is able and willing somehow to counter the growing Turkish influence in the South Caucasus. And not because Russia loved Armenia, but because Russia views South Caucasus as its backyard, as a part of former Soviet Union, where Russia believes it has legitimate special interests. And Russia definitely is not interested to see growing Turkish influence here, because regardless ups and downs in Russia-Turkey relations, and regardless ups and downs in US-Turkey relations, in any case, Turkey remains a NATO member state, and Russia, at least in South Caucasus, perceives Turkey as its strategic rival, and Russia perceives as the growing influence of Turkey in the South Caucasus. This means growing influence of NATO and growing influence of the United States in the South Caucasus, which is absolutely not in line with Russian strategic interest. So, in implications for Armenia, or what Armenia can do, at least in the mid or short-term perspective, for up to 5 years, or maybe more, we have two options. First, continue to strengthen state within, and second, continue our strategic alliance, or not to endanger or threaten our strategic alliance with Russia, to keep Turkey at some distance. So I would like somehow to summarize my maybe a little bit long speech, and I'm ready for questions, remarks, and discussion.
Can you hear me? Is it open now?
Yeah.
Just a minute, Kunal. First of all, thank you, Dr. Bolosyan. Second of all is we would like to have everyone who has a question or would like to make a comment to register in the chat, and then we will go in order of the questions that are written, so that we don't have any confusion, and also we don't get too many questions at the same time.
The chat is not opening. That's a problem.
Oh, it is not?
No.
Well, it is open for me. I don't know. Try it again.
I keep trying and nothing shows up.
Okay, go ahead, Kunal, this time for you.
Just a quick question. With the incredible armament that Azerbaijan is assembling using oil money and Israeli military, high-level military systems, does Armenia really have a chance if Azerbaijan decides to attack Armenia?
It's a really very interesting question. First of all, it's not only Israeli cutting-edge military hardware. The number one supplier of arms to Azerbaijan is Russia, and second only is Israel. Because according to public and semi-public sources, Russia provided Azerbaijan to up to $7 billion of weapons starting from 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And there are different sources of Israeli weapons provided to Azerbaijan. There are number $1.5 billion, $2 billion, and also there are some numbers of up to $5 billion of weaponry provided to Azerbaijan. So we have to distinguish two things. If Azerbaijan starts large-scale attack on Republic of Armenia, I'm emphasizing large scale, not the skirmishes which we had just 2 weeks ago along the Tavush-Tovuz borderline. If there is a large scale attack on Armenia, on the internationally recognized borders of Armenia, I'm pretty sure that we will have some reaction from Russia, regardless how we perceive Russian policy. Another, and it's very more difficult case, is if Azerbaijan attacks Nagorno Karabakh Republic. because no state, including Armenia, recognizes Nagorno Karabakh as an independent, and neither bilateral Armenia-Russia security guarantees nor the Collective Security Treaty Organization guarantees, they do not cover the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh. So if large-scale hostilities are only within the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, we cannot hope that Russia will intervene as a sole state or under the umbrella of Collective Security Treaty Organization. But we also have to understand that if there is a large-scale attack on Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, Armenian armed forces will intervene, and Armenian armed forces will intervene not only by entering the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic and fighting other forces there, but also Armenian armed forces will intervene by hitting several other territories of the Republic of Azerbaijan, which means that definitely Azerbaijan will attack back, and again it will be the war between the Republic of Armenia and the Republic of Azerbaijan. And I can assure you, as far as I understand, no one is interested in the large-scale war, because in that case, you cannot exclude that Russia will intervene based on its legal obligations. Turkey will intervene based on August 2010 agreement with Azerbaijan. And even theoretically, we may have a possibility of direct Russia-Turkish military clash, which means Russia-NATO military clash. And no one is interested in that. We all remember January, February 2020, when there were some clashes between Russian and Turkish forces in Idlib, and when 56 or 63 Turkish soldiers were killed. Turkey went to NATO. There was an extra session of North Atlantic Council. Turkey complained, but the NATO states said that sorry, but we don't want to have another trouble with Russia, and the issue with Ukraine is full for us. So please try to come into terms with Russia in Syria. And after that, Erdogan on March 5 went to Moscow and made some deal with Mr. Putin. So regardless, is Azerbaijan able to defeat Armenia militarily? Theoretically, no one can say yes or no, because war is a very difficult thing to assume. You can have a very fantastic plans, but there's several specialists or experts on war studies, starting from Sun Tzu and then from Sun Tzu in 5th or 6th century before Christ, and then German Clausewitz in 18th century AD. They are telling that, okay, you may have very nicely elaborated strategies for war, but one thing is clear. When the first bullet is shot, you have to forget all your strategies and start to elaborate new one. So theoretically, no one can answer this question. If Azerbaijan will use all its military might, I mean these multiple rocket launch systems, these military planes, all its tanks, etc., etc., no one can say definitely yes or no. Is Azerbaijan able to defeat Armenia or not? But one thing is clear, that when large-scale hostilities, if large-scale hostilities starts, no one can guarantee neither defeat or victory for Azerbaijan, and also neither defeat or victory for Armenia. But one thing is clear, that we can guarantee that large-scale hostilities will strategically or significantly increase the possibilities or theoretical possibilities of direct Russia-Turkish clashes. By the way, this is used by Azerbaijan to convince the Minsk Group co-chairs, Russia, France, and also United States, to put pressure on Armenia and to force Armenia to make concessions. Because Azerbaijan is telling the co-chairs exactly this wording. I know that you want to avoid large-scale war, but if you want to avoid a large-scale war, you have to change status quo. Because status quo does only one thing. It brings large-scale war closer. So no one wants large-scale war, but if you really don't want large-scale war, you have to change status quo, which means you have to force Armenia to make concessions. So this is Azerbaijan negotiation strategy, at least with negotiations with the Minsk Group co-chairs. But again, No one can definitely answer your question. In case of large-scale war, is Azerbaijan able to defeat Armenian forces, or are Armenian forces able to defeat Azerbaijani forces? It's a very difficult question to answer.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's see. There are a few questions. First of all, Garo Khanaryan has a question. Garo, you're on.
My question is, as I stated, how far are Armenian and Russian forces from the pipeline in Azerbaijan and in Georgia?
Okay, if we take the current Armenia-Azerbaijan border, unfortunately, border is not demarcated. There is no demarcation. There is no demarcation of the border. But at least if you take into account the former administrative border between Armenia, Soviet Armenia, Soviet Azerbaijan, which currently serves as the international border between Armenia and Azerbaijan, there are some parts when Armenian border is only some 20-25 kilometers away from both Baku-Tbilisi Ceyhan oil pipeline and also Baku-Tbilisi Erzurum gas pipeline in the territory of Azerbaijan, not in the territory of Georgia. But in the territory of Azerbaijan, there are some places where Armenian border is only within up to 25 kilometers distance from these pipelines. And by the way, this was the case also before July 12th. So I would like here to mention that in recent 5 or 6 years, Azerbaijan made a huge diplomatic offensive, especially in the West, arguing that this recent escalation was organized by Russia, was triggered by Russia, somehow to endanger this southern gas corridor. As I mentioned, Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum pipeline is a part of southern gas corridor, and this corridor will be launched within 3 or 4 months. And in late 2020, the first volumes of Azerbaijani gas will reach Europe. And in recent week, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and also pro-Azerbaijani and pro-Turkish experts in the West, they are putting forward the idea that this recent escalation is a part of a Russian hybrid war against US and Europe energy independence, against Southern Gas Corridor, and they seek to depict Armenia as only a puppet or a tool in the hands of Russia, in the hands of hybrid Russian war to hurt or at least to complicate the launch of Southern Gas Corridor. But if we speak in pure military terms, yes, Armenia, both before July 12th escalation and also now, Armenia has military means to strategically strike both Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline and Baku-Tbilisi Erzurum gas pipeline. Also, there is another not a major oil pipeline, Baku-Supsa, which brings Azerbaijani oil to Georgian Black Sea, and then via tankers it's being exported. But the main route for Azerbaijan oil export is Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline. But in any case, there are 3 pipelines which is in range of Armenian military. Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan and Baku-Supsa, Baku-Georgia oil pipelines, and Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum gas pipelines. And they are now within a range of Armenian military to be struck.
John Shirajan has a question. He says, did Turkey bring any mercenaries from Syria to Azerbaijan?
As far as I know, and as far as I know, not only from internet sources, but also from different non-publicized expert assessments, I cannot confirm this. Yes, in recent weeks, there was a lot of speculations on this. Some Kurdish outlets published that in Afrin, Turks are offering several thousand US$ to mercenaries to come to fight in Azerbaijan, the same way which Turkey did in Libya, because in Libya, it's a fixed fact that several thousand Syrian fighters have been transformed from Syria to Libya. But regarding the mercenaries entering Azerbaijan to fight against Armenia, the mercenaries from Syria. I have no facts to confirm it. Yes, there are a lot of rumors or information about it, but I cannot confirm it. And for example, just today, there was another information from Ukraine that Azerbaijan also seeks to find mercenaries in Ukraine and is ready to pay $2,000 or $3,000 to Ukrainian mercenaries to come and to fight against Armenia. Again, these are rumors, but as an independent researcher, I cannot confirm it. I cannot reject it, but also I cannot confirm.
Okay. Ashot Petrosyan has a question, says, what is preventing Armenia to declare Artsakh as an Armenian state?
What prevents Armenia to declare Artsakh as a part of Armenia?
Yes.
It's a very interesting question because we should remember that just a year ago, on August 5, I believe, in August 5, 2019, in Stepanakert, our Prime Minister made such a statement, Artsakh is Armenian full stop. It was just 1 year ago, and this made Azerbaijan very crazy. But they told, okay, also Prime Minister is a real leader of the Republic of Armenia. We all understand, but we will not see the as a Armenian official position. So why Armenia is not going to officially, for example, organize a referendum in Nagorno Karabakh Republic, gets these results, and based on the results, declare Nagorno Karabakh Republic as part of Armenia. My understanding is that because the Republic of Armenia does not want to be perceived as a spoiler of negotiation process, because the next second when Armenia will declare Nagorno Karabakh Republic as part of Armenia, definitely all Minsk group members, 11 members of Minsk group, and including these 3 co-chairs, Russia, United States, and France, they will accuse Armenia of destroying negotiations. Because in any case, the key goal of negotiations to solve the core issues of Karabakh conflict, and the core issues are territories, status, refugees. If Armenia will declare Nagorno Karabakh Republic as part of Armenia as another region, like Syunik or Shirak, Armenia will be accused of destroying negotiations, and it will give a legitimate casus belli to Azerbaijan to start a large-scale war. My understanding is this. That is why Armenia does not do that, because let's speak this way. Okay, what will this change from Armenian point of view? We all understand that de facto Nagorno Karabakh Republic is part of Armenian political and economic territory. There is the same laws there, there is the same currency there is the same passports there, and also even the president of Nagorno Karabakh Republic, yes, he's being elected by people, but everybody understands that in general, who wants to become or to be elected the president of Nagorno Karabakh Republic, he has to come to Armenia, and he has to solve this issue with the leadership of Republic of Armenia. So de facto, and this understands everyone, not only in Armenia, but also outside Armenia. De facto, yes, Nagorno Karabakh Republic is part of Armenia. But so if we declare it de jure, I don't think that it will strategically increase our positions or add something. But it will make Armenia a real spoiler in negotiations. Armenia will be perceived as a destroyer, and Armenia will give a legal casus belli to Azerbaijan. So now, if there is an escalation, we see that at least Minsk group co-chairs, Russia, United States, France, they are accusing of these ceasefire violations. Yes, they don't mention we blame Azerbaijan, and they don't criticize Azerbaijan, but at least they are criticizing the violations of ceasefire. But my understanding is that if Armenia will recognize Nagorno Karabakh Republic as a part of Armenia or even as an independent state, it will give a legal or legitimate casus belli for Azerbaijan. It will create huge complications with our relations with Russia, United States, France, and I believe it, at least for now, it will make more harm than it will give some benefits.
Okay, now there's another question from Clarice Dodge. She says, how can Armenia establish some type of economic leverage that gets some cooperation from the rest of the world?
Interesting question. Look, now if we look through on the economic situation in Armenia, we see that we are mainly importing country. Our account balance is negative, and we import approximately twice more than we export. If we are looking to our export, what we export and where we export, we have three types of exports. First is copper and some other raw materials, and mainly we export copper to Europe, to EU and other European countries. The second big chunk of our export is precious and semi-precious metals like gold and etc. etc. And again, the huge part of this is export to Europe. So we mainly export raw materials to Europe. Another biggest option of our export is the food. I mean fresh food, vegetables, fruit, processed food, and also alcoholic drinks. It's wine and definitely it's brandy. This type of export mainly going to Russia. Of course, there are some efforts to diversify this food export, and also some Armenian companies already they have started to export to the European Union. There are some exports to Gulf states, the spring drinking water, and also some fruits and vegetables. But at least as for now, more than 70% of our food-related exports going to Russia. And the fourth key export is digital technologies. We all know that there are a lot of startups here in Armenia, and mainly they are working for outside market, and also they also exporting software. So these are our main four exports. But how we can make some economic leverage or to use economy as a leverage to make outside world or big players to be a more pro-Armenian, frankly speaking, I don't see it's realistic, because we are a very small market, only 2,700,000 people. So our market is not interested absolutely to no one. It's like one big city or even one middle city we are taking into, for example, if we compare it with China or in India. And regarding the exports, yes, we are exporting some food, but there are a lot of other food exporters which are exporting much more food than Armenia. We are exporting some copper and gold, but again, here we are not the number one. And yes, we are very proud of our quickly developing digital technology or IT sector. Yes, we have in recent years, we have year-on-year 20 or 25% growth in digital technology or IT sector. But in any case, this is also not the sector by which we are. We cannot say that Armenia is a significant or strategic player in this field. So Armenia can use this as a leverage to influence some big powers policy towards Armenia. Unfortunately for us, we do not have something like TSMC, this Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, whom the United States forced, for example, to stop selling its chips to China starting from September 2020. And because TSMC is one of the key or biggest players in the field, yes, this can somehow hurt China, and this can be used as a leverage in US-China relations. But unfortunately, in no field in economy, Armenia has no such strategic significance, which Armenia can use to overtly or covertly blackmail or put pressure on some powers who have interest in South Caucasus geopolitics. So I don't see any viable or realistic possibility that Armenia can use economic cooperation or its export or imports as a tool to significantly impact those powers, interests, or activities who are involved in South Caucasus.
Okay, Armen Kocharyan has a question. He says, how strong is the current partnership of Georgia with Azerbaijan? And is there any Armenian attempt to neutralize this partnership by strengthening economic and cultural relations with Georgia?
Regarding Georgia-Azerbaijan relations, as I mentioned, they started to quickly intensify starting from 2004, and this has two key reasons. First, Turkey and Azerbaijan. Turkey wants to increase its influence in the South Caucasus, including Georgia. Turkey and Azerbaijan see Georgia as a very beneficial transit way to connect Turkey and Azerbaijan. And also because of deteriorating relations with Russia, and especially after Russia-Georgia 2008 war, Georgia sees or perceives its strategic partnership with Turkey and Azerbaijan as a leverage against Russia. And also Georgia perceives relations with Turkey as a gate or as a way to increase its cooperation with NATO, and in mid-2000 with EU too, because starting from 2005, Turkey launched these negotiations to become a EU member state. Of course, we cannot say that there are no problems in Georgia-Azerbaijan relations. There are some border issues, and recently there was very tensions between Georgia and Azerbaijan, because they also have border issues. There is a very ancient Georgian monastery complex located just on the Georgia-Azerbaijan border, and 75% of this monastery is within Georgian borders, 25% within Azerbaijani border. Georgia offered several deals to Azerbaijan to give some territories in another part to Azerbaijan and to take back this 25% of monastery, to take back it within Georgian territory, but Azerbaijan rejected. So there are some issues of problems between Georgia and Azerbaijan. But if you are looking into the Georgia's strategy of national security strategy, it is clear written that Turkey and Azerbaijan are strategic partners for Georgia, and Armenia is only a partner. So even in national security strategy, there is a clear diversification from Georgian point of view between its relation with Turkey and Azerbaijan, which are strategic partnership, and with relations with Armenia, which are only partnership relations. What can Armenia do? As far as I know, and Armenia also sought to do that, we have to speak with Georgians and telling them, okay, we understand that you use your strategic partnership with Turkey and Azerbaijan to leverage Russia, but also you should be concerned by growing Turkish and Azerbaijani influence. Turkey has significant influence, especially in Azara Autonomous Region along the Black Sea, and also there is approximately 250,000 Azerbaijanis living in Georgia, mainly along the Georgia-Azerbaijan border. So the key message of Armenia to Georgia should be that, okay, we don't say, Georgia, you should not have strategic relations with Turkey and Azerbaijan. We clearly understand reasons behind these relations. We clearly understand you use these relations as a leverage to balance Russian influence, but you can use Georgia-Armenia relations to balance your growing dependence on Turkey and Azerbaijan. This is the one message. And second message, yes, we should increase our economic involvement in Georgia, as Turkey and Azerbaijan did in 2000s, because first they strategically increased their economic involvement in Georgia through investments, because they clearly understand that first it's economic influence, that after some time, definitely economic influence will be transformed also into political influence. Of course, here is a problem of resources, but I believe that there should be some discussions with diaspora circles who has money, asking them not only to come and to invest into Armenia, but also to seek the possibility to invest into Georgia. Because in any case, even the diaspora Armenians investment in Georgia, it will give some leverage also to Armenia. Because in any case, Armenia at least can say that, okay, if there will be some problems or some issues, at least I can be a mediator between you and these investors. So I see two views or two ways how Armenia can increase its relation with Georgia. First, non-stop speaking with Georgians, and not only with government, but also with expert circles who are involved in decision making, or at least on policy drafting process, saying that, okay, Armenia is important for Georgia to balance growing Turkish-Azerbaijani influence. And second, to increase Armenia's economic presence in Georgia. And mainly, I believe it's here diaspora resources can play a key role, because I don't think that Armenian state or private businesses, they have these possibilities or resources to compete with Azerbaijan and Turkish investments.
Okay, Sarkis Setrakian has a question. Let's see, Sarkis Setrakian. He says, 2021 is the 100-year anniversary of Kars-Moscow Treaty between Russia and Turkey. What can be expected in terms of developments next year?
If we're speaking about relations between Russia and Turkey in general, we have to understand that they are, I may define them as a cooperative competitive, because in some places we have cooperation, in some places we have conflict and competition. In any case, South Caucasus is not #1 battlefield of Russia-Turkey relations. Now the key battlefields are Syria and Libya, and also Black Sea. So if we put the areas of importance for Russia-Turkey relations, first maybe for Russia and for Turkey is Libya, second is Syria or Black Sea, the third is Black Sea or Syria, and the fourth only can be the South Caucasus. So we should not exaggerate the role of South Caucasus in overall Russia-Turkish rivalry. This is important. Russia perceives Turkey as a rival in South Caucasus. Russia will do everything is possible not to allow the future growth of Turkish influence in the South Caucasus. But in any case, the Russia-Turkey cooperation competition in Black Sea, in Libya, in Syria are much more important both for Ankara and Moscow. Regarding what we may expect, I don't think that any strategic changes will happen in 2021. Of course, from Armenian point of view, I know that there are several discussions that maybe it's time to renounce at least Kars agreement, because Kars was signed also by Soviet Armenia, and Republic of Armenia is a legal follower of Soviet Armenia. But just I would like to raise a question that if Republic of Armenia denounces the Kars Treaty of October 1921, and by this treaty the current border between Turkey and Armenia exists. If we denounce this Kars agreement, what agreement should we accept? Because in that case, not only Turkey but also international community will ask us, okay, Armenia, you does not recognize Kars agreement, which means you does not recognize the current border. Very well. What agreement do you recognize? If we come back a little bit 1 year back, we will see the Alexandropol Treaty signed in December 1920, which was much worse agreement than the Kars agreement. Of course, we may say that Alexandropol agreement was never ratified, which means that we cannot speak about Alexandropol agreement. Okay, if we also drop out Alexandropol agreement between Armenia and Turkey, then we have to go 2 years back to June 1918 and take into account the Batum agreement. I believe it was signed at the beginning of June 2018, by which Turkey recognized the independence of the Republic of Armenia. But this Batum or Batumi agreement, it also is not better than Kars agreement. And if we will say that, okay, we also don't recognize Batumi agreement because it was then cancelled by several agreement, which itself was not ratified, we may find ourselves in a situation when, if we will denounce the Kars agreement of 1921, there are no other agreement which will define the border between Turkey and Armenia. Which means that, yes, we may say that, okay, we don't recognize the border, and it means that, for example, we don't recognize Van, Kars, or everyone as a part of Turkey. But in that case, Turkey also will say, okay, if you are denouncing Kars agreement, so there is a no legally defined border between Armenia and Turkey. In that case, for example, I don't recognize Gyumri, or I don't know, Syunik as a part of the Republic of Armenia. And also we have to take into account that the Russian military base, which is deployed in Armenia, and also the 1997 this agreement of friendship and mutual defense between the Republic of Armenia and Russia. Both in this agreement and also in the agreement of Russian military base, which is deployed in Armenia, and as I mentioned in 2010, the deployment term time was extended till 2044. There is a written that this military base will protect the borders of Armenia, which were the borders of former Soviet Union, or the administrative borders of Soviet Armenia. The border of Soviet Union is the current border between Armenia and Turkey. So if we denounce Kars agreement, even legally it may complicate the deployment of Russian military base here, because in that case, what border will the Russian military base or Russia in any case should defend? For example, let's take a hypothetical situation. We will denounce Kars agreement, and then Turkey will say that, okay, I have reliable information that somewhere near the Gyumri, Armenia established military camp. It trains PKK terrorists, and just they organized several terrorist attacks in Ankara and Istanbul. And even they can show several people speaking to CNN Turks and also to CNN and BBC in English, telling that yes, we are Kurdish terrorists and we have been trained by Armenian security forces in Armenian security forces established camps near Yerevan or near Gyumri, and then we send to kill civilian innocent people in Ankara and in Istanbul. And then if Turkey will say, okay, based on the 51 article of the United Nations Charter, this is a self-defense, and I'm going to, for example, to bomb these military camps, and we have no Kars agreement, we denounce Kars agreement, and so we do not have any legally border between Armenia and Turkey. It will make a legal and maybe even geopolitical mess for Armenia. So I don't think that, yes, definitely there will be some conferences in Armenia. I'm sure there will be different statements denouncing the Moscow agreement as an illegal one, the Kars agreement as an illegal one. Maybe some reaction will be from Turkish side, but other than that so-called the war of conferences, I don't believe that any significant changes may happen.
Okay, Fabio Amirlian has a question. He says, does Iran play any strategic role in the current situation? In the event of a war, would they favor Armenia or Azerbaijan?
I can only say that in general, from strategic perspective, Iran views South Caucasus as a part of its civilizational area. If, for example, I personally speak with Iranian diplomats or even with Iranian experts, they are telling that we are the same people, this is the same land, blah, 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 blah. So strategically, they still perceive South Caucasus as a part of their at least civilizational area, and they believe that these Russian-Persian wars at the beginning of the 19th century, which resulted in some territories of current Armenia, Karabakh, and Azerbaijan given to Russian Empire, maybe they believe that this is some mistake which somehow should be corrected in the very remote future. But if we are coming to the current situation, one thing is clear, Iran is not interested to see war in the South Caucasus, because war may mean the deployment of peacekeepers, and Iran is not interested neither to see additional Russian peacekeepers along its border, and definitely he will be absolutely against to see any Western peacekeepers along these borders. But because after May 2018, when President Trump left this JCPOA and launched the maximum pressure campaign against Iran, Iran is in a survival mode. So yes, they perceive South Caucasus as a part of their neighborhood, as a zone of their strategic interests. But as for now, they have no resources to strategically change something in the South Caucasus. So I may define Iran's policy as a status quo policy. So they are satisfied with current situation that Russia has a strong influence in Armenia, and also Russia in general is the #1 player in South Caucasus. Because from their point of view, if Russian influence will be weakened, it means that Turkish influence will be increased. And from their point of view, Turkish influence means NATO influence, means United States influence. So at least for now, they are status quo power. They are not interested to see the weakening of Russian positions or increase of Turkish position. Maybe they would welcome even additional increase of Russian positions. But in general, they are status quo power, and they lack resources to strategically impact the development. That is why also they are not interested in some significant changes, because as for now, they lack resources to impact, to shape the development. So the current status quo is fully satisfying Iranians. And in any case, let's not forget that despite that Iran and Turkey have increased or improved their relations since Erdogan came into power. But in any case, there is also a rivalry between Iran and Turkey. And Iran is not interested to see this growing influence of Turkey in the South Caucasus. Also, let's not forget about this 20-25 million Azeri-speaking population living in Iran. Yes, this population is very well integrated into the Iranian state, and very few are speaking about some separatism or some secession. But in any case, this is a possible point of concern for Iran, and Iran understands very well that if Turkish influence will grow in the South Caucasus, it means that Turkey will have much more possibilities, maybe through the US support or by the fostering from the United States. Turkey will have much more possibilities to play a destabilizing role in areas populated by Azeri-speaking population. I'm not using the term by Azeris because there are a lot of scholars, both in Armenia and outside, who argues that these are not Azeris, they are Azeri-speaking Iranians. I mean, these 20-25 million people.
Okay, there's another question that I think will be the last probably. Has the Velvet Revolution helped or hurt Armenia's geopolitical situation or position?
It's very difficult to make a final assessment because processes are undergoing. But in any case, what I may say, yes, maybe it somehow increased Armenia's prestige or ratings in Europe. I'm not speaking about the United States, because at least for current US administrations, they are officially stating that rule of law and democracy are not the #1 values for US for US foreign policy. And so definitely, I'm sure that the United States mainly is in deep difference. It was a velvet revolution, blooded revolution, or if there will be several hundred people killed in Yerevan. From European point of view, yes, it's a good success. Especially, this is interesting that this happened in the territory which is perceived as the absolute zone of the Russian influence. But in any case, it's not bring a very huge geopolitical crisis for Armenia, because first, EU is not a geopolitical actor, at least for now. So some Europeans and especially French president are speaking about strategic autonomy, etc., etc. But all these are for future. As for now, EU is not a geopolitical player. Second, EU has a lot of internal issues, right-wing populism, migrants, Brexit, now COVID-19, and Eastern and this part of territory is not top of EU interest. Yes, South Caucasus is part of Eastern Partnership, but in Eastern Partnership there are 6 countries, and among them Ukraine, which I can tell you that it takes about 90% of EU resources and EU attention. And also, yes, we had a velvet revolution, but still we are a member of the Eurasian Economic Union, and we didn't sign association agreement. And I can tell you that when Prime Minister Pashinyan made his first visit to Brussels, it was in July 2018, and he told that this comprehensive and enhanced partnership agreement was signed by previous government, by Sir Sarkisian government, which was totally corrupted and failed government. Now this is a democratic rule of law based government, so we need much more. We need to increase our strategic relations with EU. But the Brussels answer was very clear. Dear Armenia, you are part of Eastern Partnership. So in Eastern Partnership, if you want to increase your relations or strategically improve your relations with EU, there is only one possible way. You may sign association agreement with deep and comprehensive free trade area, as did Moldova, Ukraine, and Georgia. But for doing this, you have to leave Eurasian Economic Union. So please, if you speak about your interest to have more strategic relations with the European Union, please start the process of leaving Eurasian Economic Union, and then you will sign association agreement. This is the only way to make any real significant or qualitative change in Armenia-EU relations. Everything else is discussions. Yes, EU increased some support, financial assistance to Armenia after the revolution, but this is sum of several 10 million euros, which cannot strategically change anything in Armenia. Now we are coming to Armenia-Russia relations. I may divide these relations into 3 phases. First, it was 5 months, May, October, November 2018, when we see significant deterioration of relations due to 3 reasons. First, Armenia's decision to arrest acting Secretary General of Collective Security Treaty Organization, which clearly was perceived in Russia as a deliberate move to discredit the Collective Security Treaty Organization. And the Russians were pretty much sure that this was done by some messages not from Armenia, that this was done, the arrest of acting Secretary General of CSTO, this was done by some advice or pressure from the West. This is number 1. Second issue, which contributed to the deterioration of Armenian-Russia relations, was the arrest of former President Robert Kocharyan, which was perceived and is perceived in Russia as the most pro-Russian politician of Armenia, and as a president during whose presidency Armenia-Russia relations held a strategic leap forward. So this also was perceived very negatively in Russia. And also the criminal investigations against key Russian companies working in Armenia. I'm speaking about Gazprom Armenia and also the South Caucasus Railway Company. So in first 5-6 months, there was a clear deterioration of relations. Then starting from November 2018, situation has been changed. The most significant reason here was Armenia's decision to send a humanitarian mission to Syria, because this was offered also to Sir Sargsyan, but Sir Sargsyan rejected this, telling that I don't want to complicate my relations with the United States. And when John Bolton was in Yerevan in October 2018, he brought a clear message to Armenia that I strictly advise you not to send any humanitarian mission to Syria if you do not want to complicate your relation with the United States. And definitely Russia knew about this message. And so when Pashinyan decided to send this humanitarian mission, this was perceived in Russia something like a guarantee or a message or a gesture from Pashinyan that I'm not an anti-Russian, and all these discussions that Velvet Revolution is a West secret services organized coup d'etat with anti-Russian long-going intentions, these are all blah, blah, blah. And within 1 year, we have the improvement of Armenian-Russia relations. Then there is a third period, which is the current period, and it started from late September 2019, when again we see deterioration of relations. First reason was the strange behavior of Pashinyan during October 1st Eurasian Economic Union Summit in Yerevan, when he broke general protocol rules while accepting Russian President Putin. And this was Russian President's first visit to Armenia after the revolution. And this was clearly noticed by Russia. The second issue was that the Kocharyan was still in jail, and especially when there was a criminal investigation opened against Sir Sargsyan, the third president of Armenia, but he was not put in jail. There was no pre-trial detention. Russia asked some questions that, okay, we just want to understand why you launched criminal investigation against Kocharyan and put him in pre-trial detention, but you opened criminal investigation against Sir Sargsyan, but you didn't put him in jail, and he enjoys his life, even going to Europe, meeting with high-level European officials, like in March 2020. So this was a second reason why we saw the deterioration of Armenian-Russian relations starting from late September 2019. And maybe another key issue was Russian attempts to force upon Armenia the Lavrov plan. As I mentioned about Lavrov plan, it's the same as the Kazan document, the same phased approach solution, but without speaking about future referendum to fix Nagorno Karabakh status, and also offering only Russian peacekeepers. Azerbaijan rejected this Lavrov plan starting from 2014, when this first was articulated. But there are some signs that maybe in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, Aliyev was ready to accept this plan, viewing this as the only way and only path to get back some territories. And also, my assessment is that both Azerbaijan and Turkey believe that in any case, in long-term perspective, in 10-15 years, Russian trajectory will be declining because Russia has demographic problems, Russia has economic problems. Russia could not overcome this dependence of oil and gas export, and we all know that due to the green revolution, this fossil fuel import will decrease. So maybe Azerbaijan and Turkey thought this, okay, let's establish the de facto military base in Azerbaijan, but after 10 or 15 years, when Russia will be strategically weakened, these peacekeepers or Russian military base will not prevent us from taking additional territories. So my understanding is that maybe, I am not sure, but that maybe there is some consent between Azerbaijan and Russia that Azerbaijan is ready to accept the Lavrov plan. And now we see the pressure against Armenia to force Armenia to accept the Lavrov plan. But as I mentioned, it's even worse than Kazan document. And after April 2016 war, absolute majority of population, both in Armenia and Nagorno Karabakh Republic, rejects this type of solution. So now we are in a tense Armenia-Russia relation situation. So trying to summarize and answer the question, what happens with Armenian geopolitical situation after the revolution? I cannot say that we get some benefits. From the United States, there is a zero tension, frankly speaking. I'm not sure what will happen if Biden wins in November 2020 and assuming his position in January 2021. If the rule of law and democracy promotion will come back to the foreign policy agenda of the United States, maybe we will see some increased attention of the United States on Armenia. But if Trump wins the election, again, Armenia-US relations will be also almost in the zero level. EU is not geopolitical power, and we have a little bit complicated relations with Russia. So as for now, I may say that we are either in the same position or maybe a little bit weaker.
Thank you. All right, I think we've about covered everything that needs to be covered, and thank you very much. We have with us Professor Nauhanyan and Ara Sanjan. I don't know if you have any comments. You can take a few minutes each, and if okay, Ara says it's okay. Anna, do you have any questions or comments?
Just would like to thank Benjamin on a really informative presentation. I have been benefiting from Benjamin's writing, but I do want to respectfully disagree, Benjamin, on the Velvet Revolution question as to whether or not the Velvet Revolution had produced any geopolitical benefits for Armenia. I realize it's very late for you probably have to go to bed, and I don't want to take too much time. Just to simply say that Jacob and I have been talking about this. I do have a book on that question, related to that question, coming out. And I do
know, with Lawrence Broer, Richard Gragosian, I know about that book.
Yes, so in that book, actually, one of the chapters that I wrote is specifically on the point that the Velvet Revolution produced a government that is very legitimate. And the fact that you have a government whose legitimacy comes from the people, that's an enormous leverage that the government has relative to Russia as well as to any other countries. So what Armenian government has been doing, in my view, quite effectively, is trying to maintain the strategic relationship with Russia, which is very important, but also trying to bargain better and to improve, to bargain better and to really improve what it can take out of the partnership with Russia. So yeah, I will just simply stop there. Perhaps we can continue talking about this. And by the way, it's a blessing in disguise that the United States was not involved in the revolution. It would have securitized the revolution very quickly, and it would have been very difficult to keep it peaceful and not turn this into another disaster like you saw the Arab Spring outcomes, are very unfortunate outcomes in Syria, as well as many other countries. I'll stop here, but we can continue talking about this. Thank you, Benjamin.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Ohanyan, and thank you, Benjamin Polosyan. Thank you very much for this very interesting and informative presentation. And thank you, everybody. We hope to see you on August 10. We have a presentation by Dr. Arap Babian, who is a former ambassador, and he's been very active in the area of treaties between Armenia and international treaties related to Armenia. So he will present the Wilsonian issue. So we will send you the information, and we hope that you can join us on August 10 at noon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to thank Mr. Panosyan for the invitation, and also thank to all of you for taking your time. As I mentioned, I will send the English version of my Chinese colleague paper, which was published today in Russian regarding pan-Turkism and strategic threats towards China. And if you are interested in Mr. Panosyan, I may send you my future publications, because mainly I publish in English, and it's all on geopolitics, South Caucasus, Middle East, US-Russia and US-China relations. And thank you, everyone, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.